Welcome to the RotoWire DFS show Euros edition. I'm talking Wednesday's semifinal between England against Netherlands. I'm Adam Zdroik. You can find me at RotoZdroik on Twitter. Also, rotowire.com/soccer trial to get into the RotoWire range of products. Yesterday was okay. Spain won 2-1. I told everyone I wasn't going to captain. I thought Spain were going to allow a goal, and I told everyone I wasn't going to captain Unai Simon, and then I decided to, and it didn't work. It didn't work in my favor, but overall in cash games, it wasn't the most difficult showdown per se. Though if you went for a bench option, that one didn't work for you after 3 goals getting scored in the first 25 minutes. But Wednesday's match here, Netherlands, England. Here's the DraftKings cheat sheet over on RotoWire. Again, if you want some projections, we don't have any at RotoWire, but check out Jack Burkhart's Patreon. If you don't know the link to that, you're maybe get into the RotoWire Discord as well. RotoWire.com/chat, get into the Discord. And Jack said you can just DM him for the Patreon, though. You can also Google it. If you're smart enough, you can Google it and you can find it through that avenue. Here are the lineups here. I'm going to go over lineups. I'm going to go over some of the odds, my initial thoughts on the match, and how we're going to break down this DFS showdown here. It's a little more difficult than yesterday's, whereas yesterday it almost felt like you could play anyone and it makes sense. This one, it almost feels like you don't want to play anyone and none of it makes sense. But here we are. So here's a look at it. The one question with Netherlands is Daniel Malen, Wout Weghorst, Steven Bergwijn. That is the main question for the Netherlands 11. It's unclear. I'd say it's about 33 for any of those 3 to start. Otherwise, the back line here is kind of what they've been doing. And Reinders shouting in the midfield. Joey Veerman, I highly doubt he starts this one, but maybe because England's a little more defensive, maybe Netherlands decide, hey, let's put Veerman in and see if that gives us maybe some more creativity in the midfield kind of thing. I guess that's a possibility. I wouldn't count on it, but this is kind of what they've been running out with this spot on the right wing, or this starting spot being up to 3 players. All of which could go 45 minutes. We've seen Bergwijn go 45 minutes each of the last 2 matches. England have a couple questions. Pretty much, I mean, we know what to expect here from Southgate. He's not really going to mix things up incredibly much. Mark Gahey is going to be back from his suspension, so the thought is Ezri Konsa is going to move back to the bench. Luke Shaw returned from his hamstring injury. He was out since this February. Played 42 minutes off the bench in the win against Switzerland. So that'll be one to check on if it's going to be Shaw or if it's going to be Trippier on that left wing. Again, this is dependent on how healthy Shaw is, how close to 100% he is. You know, he's just back from a 5-month-long injury, so hamstring injury at that. So I think if this is just going to be a talking point, no matter who starts, because if Trippier starts, you know, he's been coming off early the last few matches. He's in the range for 60, 70 minutes. I think he went 82 last game. If Shaw starts, he's also in range for 60, 70 minutes. I doubt Shaw gets to that 80-minute mark. Again, this is kind of a short week for him, returning from injury. Expect Rice, Kobe Mino to be in there as well. And I guess I'll bring up, they did this 3 center backs with Trippier on that left wing, Saka playing more in a winger role. I will bring that up as we get talking a little more, but Saka's crossing numbers did improve in this role. And then your usuals, Bellingham, Foden, Kane. We're not going to have, there's just not going to be many changes here. Southgate's not going to go crazy here in the semifinal. They're here, even if they haven't looked great. So England are favored. They are 35% chance to win, 35% chance clean sheet. Again, these are similar odds to yesterday's game, which I kind of disagree with in the end. I kind of mentioned if we looked at the Spain-France game, if we looked at it before the tournament, I think the implied goal total should have been a little higher. Turns out there are 3 goals in the first 25 minutes. Turns out, Jesus Navas in at right back was a problem as expected, but Spain still got through with that. But either way, we still got 2.25 implied goal total, 1.19 for England, 1.05 for Netherlands. And I'm getting a question here. Is there a stat on RotoWire to see how well pitchers perform against left and right batters? I don't know. This is a soccer show, so hopefully you can find that. Check out maybe DM at RotoWire MLB on Twitter. Maybe that will help you out. Otherwise, he's probably not listening at this point, asking about baseball questions. Probably a little confused listening to this show. So Harry Kane plus 160 to score. I looked at this later in yesterday's show, but just looking at the floors of these players, I mean, we can ignore Malen, who's mainly come off the bench, only appeared 3 times. Gakpo actually has a higher floor than Depay, though I do have some questions on Gakpo's floor overall. If you look at some of his results, a lot of his pretty big floor games came against. Actually, I'll look at these teams that kind of. I'll look at my thoughts for this game here. I did want to bring up Kyle Walker, just has the worst floor of anyone in this game, which I found kind of funny. And then if you throw Saka on that right wing and Foden kind of next to him, Kyle Walker is just not really getting up the pitch very much. So maybe the least amount of upside of anyone in this England team could be Kyle Walker if this is the same formation. So in case you're in this $4,400 range, maybe Kyle Walker, maybe not the way to go, but maybe in tournaments, because I said that maybe no one's going to play him and maybe he's going to score a goal. Maybe, I did call out Murata yesterday. He did get the assist. So shots to Murata, even though he got taken out by a photographer yesterday. But in terms of this matchup, I was trying to dive into some of the Netherlands numbers throughout the tournament and recently. And one thing I found just between these teams overall, one thing I had a question about was this might be, along with Slovenia, this may be one of the worst midfields that England have faced in the Euros. I know, people may be questioning that take a little bit, but again, no Frankie de Jong, no Coop Miners announced just before the tournament. And yeah, Rangers and Showdown have played well, but I still think that is a bit of a weakness there in the Netherlands midfield. And while I know England haven't been dominating, I wonder if, just a weaker midfield may give some more advantage than we've seen in recent games for England. Like I objectively here, I do think the Switzerland midfield is better than the Netherlands midfield. You could even say that about Slovakia, Denmark. I would say that as well. Serbia, maybe in that same level. So I do think, people are looking at, okay, Gakpo's had a great tournament. Depay, Simons can have some good moments. The back line is a bunch of experienced guys. Ake and Van Dijk back there, but I'm still not sold on Rangers and Schouten. I think that just looking through Netherlands, watching that game against Turkey, where they kind of disappointed a lot. They didn't really create a ton. They got those 2 goals late. And then you go back through their results. Okay, the Poland game, they needed about Weghorst winner late in that one. France, they had a couple good chances, but they finished with 0.43 XG. And then, okay, Austria play a little bit different than England. That was 3-2 loss. And then they beat Romania. That game was basically over in the second half. So I kind of, a lot of people look at England and say, they've been pretty bad. But I wonder if this is actually a good matchup for England, just on paper. Maybe not with how they've been playing, and maybe because they've been really struggling. Maybe none of this even matters. But I do want to get that out of the way. I think this will be still an ugly game. I think every game England plays, they tend to be ugly. And I do think, the 1-1 results that they've been having is in range again, though I do think 1-0 is a possibility, though I wonder if Netherlands can actually keep England scoreless. So getting into DFS and some cash games here over at DraftKings. Since, as I said at the top of the show, you don't really want to play a lot of these guys, but you have to play someone here. And so Depay, looking at the free kick tracker here, Depay, assuming we get this lineup, Depay probably going to take the majority of set pieces. I mean, look at this game. A couple games ago where he took 13 set pieces. Simone's only took one. Again, the off chance that there's, the off chance, 10% chance that Veerman is back in the starting 11, he would then be splitting set pieces. But so you get Depay. And then I guess I should also mention there's a chance that Luke Shaw comes in the starting 11 and then he may possibly steal some set pieces as well. It'd probably be the same situation as what Trippier had been doing with Foden. So, yeah, so it would probably be some kind of split situation there. But just looking at the overall prices, I think it's kind of easy here to put together a lineup as long as you're fine with some center back. Maybe we get Luke Shaw, but Luke Shaw, again, a talking point here, 3,400. He's only 3,400, and that can allow you to do a lot of things if he is in the starting 11. If he's not in the starting 11, well, you can go to John Stones. You can go to Mark Gahey down there. De Vrij is 3,600 as well. So if you want that sixth and final piece, but the initial cash lineup I put together, instead of going Depay here, Depay, main majority set piece taker for the underdog, you could take that route and captain him. Maybe a little safer than Foden or really anyone on England. You could take that route, but you kind of have to make some decisions, is what it comes down to. You'd have to make a decision, obviously, on Gakpo, and then you have the Foden, Bukayo Saka talking point. I had was a 2-gamer last time England played. It was 1v1 with Saka and Foden. I was like, okay, well, we're getting a few set pieces from Foden. Though the role for Saka made me like Saka a little more than usual. I ended up on Foden. Really didn't work off. So really didn't work out well for me. So again, just a decision has to be made between a lot of these guys. So let's see what we can do with Depay. I mean, I just think he's a little too expensive here for this matchup. Though again, it's England, so maybe putting too much into the name here. But if we captain Depay, you're probably not going to get to Gakpo. Though if you want to go heavy Netherlands, this is cash here. So Depay, Gakpo, and then let's say you just want Foden for set pieces, and let's just say for this situation, let's say Shaw starts, and then I guess we could be looking at Declan Rice, and then Xavi Simons here, 7,800. I guess this could be a popular route here. And then you're basically replacing a possibility of Saka with Simons is I guess what it comes down to there. Trippier 6,600 also in there. So I guess that's the difference between captaining Depay or a Foden or Saka. So if you captain Depay, you're going to be down to Xavi Simons at 7,800. If you captain Foden or Saka, you can get both Foden and Saka instead of going to Xavi Simons. I'm looking at floor here. Simons has about the same floors as Foden throughout the tournament, but again, just look at. It'll be hard to fade Saka, I think, in cash games. He had those 9 crosses. Looked like England's most electric player. Was often down the right wing there in that prior game. But okay, he's matched up against Ake, a little different matchup in this one, a little more difficult. Those guys have played each other plenty in the Arsenal-Manchester City matchup. So if you really want to dive deep into it, maybe look at Saka versus Ake for Arsenal, Man City, though. Again, not a great comparison in terms of teams. So I think that's kind of what you're looking at in cash games. There's not too many ways to go when we start looking at it because, okay, Rangers shouting in this matchup. I'm not sure I can go there. In better matchups, I like Rangers a little bit, and then he ended up getting subbed off early in that last game because he had a yellow card. Whoever starts right here, always in range. Whoever starts in this Mullen spot, always in range for 45 minutes. Ryan Balaji mentioned on the last 2-game show, mentioned Declan Rice, Kobe Mino. We know Kobe Mino is in range to be subbed off early around the 80-minute mark, which he's been the last couple matches. But him and Declan Rice, they will get in spots where they're taking shots, where they're setting up teammates. Declan Rice was the guy last game, and it was 16.8 points. He's going to play every minute, so I think that's the boost he gets over Mano. But again, it's a $1,200 difference. But I think it's a lot easier to look at these England guys for the 7, 8, 9 point floor compared to Rangers and Shoughton, who you're in range for 2 points from either one of those guys, or even negative if it really goes off the rails. Shoughton, looking through Shoughton's game logs here, he does have a negative result, 0.7 against Turkey. Just not the same situation for those guys in terms of DFS. So, all right. So in tournaments, how are we going to build this thing out? In terms of guys coming off the bench, I kind of mentioned this in the last show. It's a little easier to play bench options when when it's possible that you get another 30 minutes in extra time. But England don't really sub a lot, so that is the one problem. So the England guys, Cole Palmer and Eze, have been the guys coming off the bench for them and getting the most minutes. So if you want to go someone off the bench, I would say that's where you're looking. I'd probably Cole Palmer more than Eze, just because I don't know why, just because, but maybe he's more likely to come on before Eze, I guess is what I'll say. I was going to say maybe he's more likely to take a PK, but I think even if Kane subs off and Tony comes on, that Tony actually would be England's top PK taker because he does not miss for Brentford. TAA just really hasn't been getting a ton of minutes, so I'm not sure I can take that route. And then obviously you have whoever doesn't start between Trippier and Shaw. I guess you could actually play if you don't want to play. You're not going to get a clean sheet bonus, but if you don't want to play Gahey or Stones and you still like England, you could play Shaw off the bench. If Trippier starts and Shaw doesn't start, you could play Trippier off the bench and hope for an assist. I guess that's what you're hoping for. Shaw assist off the bench for 3,400. Again, it's possible, not the most exciting thing there. As for the Netherlands side, it's a little different because, again, that trio of guys starting in this spot here, we don't know how it's going to look. Either way, if Weghorst doesn't start, he'll probably come on at some point, and he's always in range to head in a goal. If Malen doesn't start, he's not guaranteed. He didn't play in that last game, but he's an option to come on. Bergwijn, again, has started the last couple, and he actually hasn't come off the bench yet, which is interesting. I think Xerxes came off late. Frimpong has come on a couple times. That's kind of what we're looking at. And if you really want to go crazy, similar to the Luke Shaw shout, Van de Ven has been coming on for Nathan Ake in recent games. And while he's looked really good when he's come on, I'm not sure that's going to result in him scoring a goal or an assisting. So this one, I think this game is more likely to go 120 minutes than the last one, but it's just not a ton of guys who stand out because we know Gakpo is in play for 120. Simone's maybe a 90-minute sub. Depay, I think he'll go like a 110. All those England guys are in play for a 105 or more. So it's not really a game outside of the Weghorst possibility, the Malen possibility. It's not really anyone that stands out in terms of a bench play. But, if you want to go crazy, it's always an option. Also, Veerman, if he doesn't start, assuming he doesn't start, it'll be an option to come off the bench. So I'd say go for the 1-0 or go for the 1-1 in this game. England is difficult. England is difficult. You see these last couple of games, and nothing has really changed too much for them. I know they changed formations, but they're outplayed by large chunks against Switzerland. Ended up with that late Saka goal, and Bolo got one in there. But even before the goal, it was Switzerland were proud, looked like the better team for. I guess it was early in the second half when Switzerland really looked like the better team. It was kind of. No one really looked like anything in the first half. I think England had a couple shots, but nothing that really looked great. So I think you can captain both goalkeepers. Harry Kane, I don't know how popular it's going to be because I don't think he's 100%, but PKs are always in play. And Same with the pie over here. Man, this just isn't as exciting as the other slate, so this one's a little more difficult to talk about here. I mean, yesterday I was like, yeah, Captain Rodri, Captain Fabian Ruiz, Captain all these guys. Are we coming to a situation where we want to captain Kobe Mino? We want to captain Declan Rice? Probably not. I mean, we saw Declan Rice's peak performance, and it was 16 points in 120 minutes in that last game. Though, maybe Kobe Mino, we've seen him score some wonder goals for Manchester United. So maybe he pops up and gets one. Maybe he's the only goal scorer. Maybe you can captain him. Not going to be popular. I think there's a possibility given the 2.25 implied goal total. I didn't actually. I think it was about 5% on Simone yesterday, goalkeeper captain. I think we can get to 8, 9, 10% for Pickford, goalkeeper captain. I don't know what he was in prior showdowns for England. For Bruggen, I think will also be at least 5% captain. So if you go goalkeeper captain, which I'll end the show on, try and get a little different. If you go goalkeeper captain, you're gonna have to be different because this is going to be one of the most popular games for goalkeeper captain, as I think have previous England showdowns. Otherwise, captain options, I really haven't seen Stones or Gahey getting up too far forward on set pieces. And even then, it's not like England have had a lot of set pieces, so maybe that has something to do with it. I think Netherlands are I was going to say Netherlands are a bigger team, but then, I mean, we're looking at Simons and Depay. I'm just thinking of captaining defenders here. Not the easiest thing. Dumfries, same side as Luke Shaw over there. Dumfries has been decent, I would say. He's also not a massive minutes concern. I did have him in a lineup in that last game. I think he should have had an assist, but that was an own goal, that late one to Gakpo. Still finished with 8 points. He's been going 90 minutes in every start. I think that's pretty good for Dumfries, who he's always in play to foul a bunch, but on that right side, how much is he going to be fouling Luke Shaw? Jude Bellingham, I guess Jude Bellingham or Foden. Bellingham, I think, was playing a little more on that left side in that last game. I guess we can get in a situation where Bellingham is drawing a bunch of fouls from Dumfries. I guess it's a possibility. Any of these England guys can be captain. Again, they're all in play for at least 110 minutes. So that is something to consider there. In terms of popularity between Saka, Bellingham, Foden, Kane, I don't know. I don't know. Saka had that great game in that last one. Maybe people look at that, but how many people are looking at formation and thinking that matters too much? Maybe they look at his prior few games and notice that. Bellingham maybe the least popular of those guys. Not entirely sure. Kane more popular, hasn't been the best tournament for him. It's tough. I think it'll be pretty close in terms of popularity, at least in captaincy for those England guys. And the Netherlands, the GPP route would be to captain whoever starts in this role. If it's Malen, Captain Bergwijn, good luck. Good luck in 45. But what if Bergwijn does the Kolo Muani, gets the early goal kind of thing, finishes with 15 points, something like that, and he's a little cheaper. How much is Bergwijn actually? Bergwijn is 6,400, so almost in that same range as Kolo Muani. What if he gets that early goal, finishes with 14, 15 points? You're looking pretty good, especially with a goal from that price. So, and it won't be popular. Kolo Muani was, a starting striker for France, and he was sub 15%. I think I saw in most places, maybe 11% in the main. So that's always a route. We look at these guys and it's like, he hasn't had a good tournament. He's not guaranteed for minutes. He's going to get subbed off. But, at the end of the day, people were bashing Murata. At the end of the day, what if he scores? What if he gets an assist? It could happen for any of these guys. And as seen with Kolo Muani, people are going to be glued to certain players. Gakpo and Depay are going to be really popular. Simons is going to be a little less so, but given what Gakpo has done, given the majority set piece role for Depay, those guys are going to be super popular. But what if Netherlands score early? What if it is an early goal for Bergwijn or Malin or Weghorst or Simons? Or what if it's an early goal from those guys and your majority set piece taker, Memphis Depay, ends up with 3 corners and it turns out England have to pressure and go into the attacking third for the majority of the match. What if that happens? So there's plenty of range of outcomes here where even though Depay is going to be one of the more popular players on the slate because of his majority set piece role, it's always in range, especially for these showdowns, especially for these bigger contests where we're getting a lot of non-soccer people jumping into these contests. It's always possible where we get a down game for Depay or Gakpo. What if they're already 2 of the more expensive players on the slate? What if they get 6, 7, 8 points? Is that going to be enough? Maybe if only 2 people get over 10 points, but if that doesn't happen, maybe those guys aren't going to be optimal lineups. So it's not. I think yesterday we did have a solo 20K winner. And again, it was only 90-minute match. So there are ways where you can get different. It would be captaining one of these guys, one of these Netherlands guys who aren't as popular as Gakpo Depay. Maybe this is the time for Van Dijk. I played Van Dijk instead of De Vrij in that last game. Maybe it's the time for Van Dijk here for his center back goal against I don't know, I'd say a mediocre set piece defending team in England. So you can get different. And we always look at this and it's like, okay, we got these obvious guys, but there's still ways to get different from the 22 starters in this match. And all right, so let's do. I'll do Pickford here. I'll do Pickford. I don't want to give my lineup away, actually, so I'm not going to do Pickford. Let's do a Verbruggen captain here. And the basis of this will be Netherlands score first. And unlike the prior games, I think this is less likely. I think Netherlands winning 1-0 or 2-0 is less likely than England winning 1-0 or 2-0. I'm still not, similar to Spain's back line, I'm still not entirely sold on Netherlands just defending a lead and getting a clean sheet. They killed that game against Romania, but Romania basically gave up in the second half. So I'm not sure how much we can put into that one. That was, I think, I guess their second clean sheet. They had a clean sheet against France, but let's see what we can do with Verbruggen. I think we can actually get a lot here. Gakpo, Depay. Let's just say it's scoreless through the first 45 minutes. We're getting decent floors from Gakpo Depay, and we'll get to 8 to 10 points from Gakpo or Depay. We'll get a Simon's assist to Gakpo, and Depay will have a 10-point floor from all the set pieces. And then we'll get Foden for England set pieces. They're going to have to be pushing for the final 30 minutes of this. And then hopefully along in this process, we get a bunch of Verbruggen saves, maybe a couple Foden shots from outside. Again, this is a situation where you could play Saka, but in this situation, we do want the set pieces because England are going to be pushing a little bit more. So we got 6,100 left in this lineup. Verbruggen captain, Gakpo, Depay, Simons, and a Foden. So 6,100. You could go Dumfries, but how many goals are we how many goals are we expecting for Netherlands in this situation? If it's only 1-0, Dumfries doesn't get the clean sheet because he's a midfield only. So that doesn't help you. And then if you already got 3 Netherlands guys, you're hoping 2 of them are involved in the goal. Adding another one just means you're kind of hoping for a complete domination here by Netherlands, which I'm not sure is in range. Pickford, you could take that route and hope that Netherlands just get a bunch of shots on target early before getting that goal. That one is a little more risky. I did have a double goalkeeper yesterday, even though I kind of said I didn't think it'd be a double goalkeeper slate. It did not work out because Mike Maignan finished with -3. You could get Declan Rice in this situation. If England are pressing, that means he's going to be closer to the top of the box, possibly ripping shots. Also, he's guaranteed for 90, 120 minutes. I think that's what you're looking at. I think you can get a little bit different in the 6th spot. You could add Ake. I wouldn't be as sold on Ake just because, 67 minutes are possible. This could be, okay, Van Dijk. Maybe he's going to rack up a bunch of defensive stats. De Vrij, same with him. You could get one of those guys and you're left with 23, 2K, whatever in your lineup. And it's not going to be as popular as some of these other lineups just because you have 23 left. I think people will still have this lineup because it kind of makes sense. Maybe you get wild and replace Gakpo or Depay with someone else, maybe another Netherlands defender, maybe an England player who's going to rack up 10 plus floor points, that kind of thing. That makes you a little bit different than some of these others, but we got a shout. Someone's telling them to join his Patreon, Sports Fans Betting. Yeah, I'm not going to, sorry, bud. RotoWire.com/soccertrial 48-hour trial. There we go. Tropical Bear. Adam lineup for 3-1 Netherlands. Okay, I'll build a 3-1 Netherlands lineup. I like that. I think that's a lot of goals for Netherlands after what I've already said in the show, but anything can happen here. So we're actually going to go. How wild can we get here? 3-1 Netherlands. Does this mean a first half goal? We could probably play Malen or whoever starts in that spot. I don't want to get too obvious with Gakpo or Depay. Let's captain Dumfries. In this situation, we're getting Dumfries with an assist or a goal. He's getting 15 points at least for Dumfries here. So we're getting Dumfries 15 points. Let's get Gakpo. I'm going to see if we can make sense of this. We'll get an assist for Depay. Gakpo, 17 points. Depay, also around that 15-point range. Let's get the England goal. If we want to go wild here, Kobe Mino, we could do that. Maybe let's see we can do Saka instead. And then 3 goals. I'm going to say the Depay assist goes to Van Dijk. So we got that. And okay, let's just say Malen starts here. Or Simone's here, either one. So yeah, with this lineup, I don't think you could actually do this. I mentioned Gakpo getting more points than Dumfries, but with this lineup, I don't think you can actually get all of these players. So we got Dumfries getting an assist with about 15 or so points. Gakpo with a goal. Depay assist to Van Dijk. Saka or Foden or whoever you want in that England spot getting the goal for England. And then in that final spot, what I say, Gak. So I got 2 goals. And then that final spot, you can go Malen if he starts, Veghorst, Xavi Simons as well on that final spot. So you're getting that you're getting 3 goals. You're getting a goal/assist possibility from Dumfries. 900 left with this lineup that I just built. How many people are going to captain Dumfries? I guess I'll go with that. Less than 5%, 3%. So you already have that in there. How many people are thinking 3 goals for Netherlands? Not many. Dumfries captain with Van Dijk. How many people are going to play that? Less than 1%. Probably. Tropical Bear is saying, let's say Saka assist to Rice or Mayno. So yeah, if you go that route, if you don't need to spend on Saka, you still have a lot of room to run. Maybe at that point you still captain Gakpo. You still can be a little different, but there we go. There's a couple different tournament lineups for you. Dan is saying, I refuse to fall for Foden again. Yeah, when you say that, that's always when the snake bites. That's always when he comes through for you. We look at some of these results: 89 minutes, 90 minutes, 115 minutes. So split of set pieces. Anything can happen here. Anything can happen. Thank you for watching, though. You can find RotoWire Soccer at RotoWire Soccer on Twitter. You can find me on Twitter at RotoZdroik. RotoWire.com/chat to get into our Discord. And if you want a trial for the last few showdowns of the Euros, RotoWire.com/soccer trial, 48-hour trial. Thank you for listening to this. Thank you for watching all summer as well. Make sure to give a shout to Jack and Ryan for all the videos they've done. But thank you for everyone. Good luck on this one. We'll see everyone we'll see what the third place tournament, contest look like. We'll see everyone for the final at the least.